You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Doesn't appear that we have any. I'm going to try to get through as many calls as I can here. We have 17, so away we go with AA Ron.
So, Brian, Ron from Eau Claire.
Yo.
Enjoyed the bye week. I enjoyed not having to stress about whether or not the Packers will perform well. Kind of made me feel better after seeing a couple of the losses that good teams suffered over the weekend.
Yeah.
Just kind of made me feel like, we're not the only ones. What with the Eagles losing to whoever they lost to, and the Chiefs. Did the Chiefs lose to the Jags? Can't remember.
I think so,
anyway,
yeah.
A few teams lost to unexpected teams, and also Dallas put up another, 37 points. It's kind of makes you feel a little bit better that at least, the Packers aren't some anomaly that, there's no longer any undefeated team in the league. So, obviously it means nothing about the Packers specifically. I just feel better that there's unexplained randomness sometimes.
Right.
And anyways, so it looks like we're gonna face Joe Flacco again, which is kind of funny, and I hope that we can, beat him this time. All right, go Pack, go.
And that's why I do so much context content. Because there's always so much woe is me attitudes with Packer fans of, well, this always happens to us. Why is it always us? Well, yes, it happens to us. It also always happens to just about everybody. That's why in order for me to actually take stuff seriously, you can't just say, this happens to us a lot. You'd have to say that this happens to us at a higher rate than other teams, and here's the evidence of that. Otherwise, you're just going off of my gut feeling. So, again, I don't want to outright dismiss stuff, but without doing the looking myself, I can't take anything seriously that's just, this happens, or this happened. I remember that this has happened in the past, and so, therefore, it happens all the time, and then I'm going to make the logical leap to, it only happens to us, or other bad teams. Therefore, we have a uniquely painful situation and a uniquely unqualified coach and a unique, and it's based on what? What are you basing that off of? That's where the context can be helpful. And I know it annoys some people, but it annoys people generally that want to be miserable, and I'm ruining that experience for them. And again, it's not to say that you should be happy or even okay with bad stuff. But don't start going down this woe is me rabbit hole of, this is, we have it so hard and we have it the worst, and why does this keep happening to us? I mean, we're going to fire a head coach for something that we don't even know if it's actually a problem? That seems odd. Because again, a problem isn't when something happens. A problem is when something happens at a higher or lower, depending on whichever thing we're talking about and which is worse, rate than expectation. And expectation is set based on what reality is in the NFL. Right? If if you just use the basic example of win-loss, if you win 12 games every single year, that's pretty good. But if you don't watch football and you don't pay attention to any other teams ever, obviously nobody is this dense, but just as an extreme example, to give an example, you could easily look at it and say, well, why are we always losing all the time? Every single year, we're always losing. We keep losing. Like, what is it? How can we call ourselves a good team when we're losing, 5-ish games every single year? We just keep dropping these random games that, I don't know how you can call yourself good if you keep doing that. Well, okay, the obvious response to that is 12 games is kind of good. Nobody wins every single game. And that's where context comes in. It's not just here's everybody else sucking to make you feel bad or to make you feel better. The context is also to give you some concept of what is normal. So that if you're going to be upset, at least know what you're upset about. At least understand what the baseline normal is so you can be upset for underperforming that baseline. Even among good teams. Even if you say, well, I don't care what the normal is, I want to be up there with the best teams. Okay, fine. You set high expectations, fine. But you can't set them higher than where the highest teams are at and then pretend you're being a rational fan when you're not. You're just being angry because you feel like being angry, but don't actually feel like putting in any work to determine whether the team or the coach or the players or whatever are actually doing poorly. It's the same thing with like Jordan Love. Well, look at all this stuff that he's done, and look at this and look at that. And it's like, comparatively, where is he right now? Where he is basically ahead of everybody else in a lot of metrics. Pretty much every metric, he's ahead of most people. He is a top 5, top 10 guy. That doesn't mean you should be happy with the interception he threw. That doesn't mean you should be content when he makes bad decisions or does things wrong. But it does mean you're being an irrational child if you're going to sit here and say Jordan Love ain't it. It's possible that he's not, but it's not based on any information that you or I have right now. So you're wrong when you say that I'm looking rationally at the information in front of both of us, and I've concluded rightly, based on this, that he's not the answer. No, you haven't, because that's not possible based on the information. Because the best available information says actually, even if he never makes it to Aaron Rodgers tier or whatever, he is playing like a franchise caliber quarterback. Make sense? Makes sense to me.
Yo, Brian, it's your uncle, Rico.
Yo.
Just wanted to say that I don't give 2 hoots about starting on the 20.
Hoot and a holler?
Who cares where you're starting?
Well, I care.
You'd rather start on the 20 than the 10. I get it. But if you got some room, you're not pinched up against the wrong goal line, then who cares? You got to move the ball 20 more yards. It's 2 more plays. It's 4 more plays. It's however many more plays. Who cares? I don't care. I'd rather them not bring the ball out. Obviously it's a confidence thing or a game plan thing or whatever it is. I don't know. You drop the kickoff drops down on the 2 and you go with it or you don't go with it. It comes with a returner that is, to me, fearless, sometimes foolish. So yes, I'd rather err on the side of caution and start on the 20. It's not a big deal. If your offense can't move the ball, then it doesn't matter where you start. Ike then, Rico out.
Well, I definitely care. It's kind of like saying I don't care about the penalties. 1st and 15, 1st and 10, what's the big deal? It's 5 more yards. Well, we see what the big deal is. Our conversion rate is through the floor. So, field position is a pretty big deal. It's not, like you said, it's not as big of a deal as being pinned back on your 1, but it certainly matters, and it's certainly going to impact. Every team has a sort of amount of yards that they're able to move. And if you move back 5 yards over the course of a season, that's going to convert to less points scored. If it's 10 yards, that's even less. If it's 15, if it's 20. Conversely, if you move it up, again, over the course of a season, you will see an impact in points scored per drive. There is going to be a correlation there. So, every inch is going to matter to some degree. I understand the standpoint of no excuses, do what you got to do, but at the end of the day, it's going to negatively impact our ability to score points, and that's what we got to figure out.
Yo, Brian, it's your uncle, Rico.
Yo.
I forgot the most important part about the kickoff returns, about not bringing it out of the end zone and starting on the 20 as opposed to whatever the options there are. And as of late, the options for the Packers there are bringing it out and getting the penalty and getting the call back anyway.
That's true.
So if Savion Williams makes the decision to not bring it out, it's probably a plus 20 decision. It's probably a 40-yard offset anyways, even if we're starting on the 20, because we're going to get pushed back to the goal line by some moron making a poor block or whatever's going on. I don't even know what's going on there. Obviously, I don't know how I'm supposed to know what's going on there. Our special teams coordinator and our head coach don't know what's going on there. Can't seem to figure that out. So I'm defending Savion Williams for not bringing it out and us starting on the 20 based on those two things, based on those 10 things that could go wrong with bringing it out. So I'm good with it. All right, then. Rico out.
Well, yeah, I guess I get it from that standpoint. If you think we're going to end up not even at the 20 if you take it out, which maybe that ends up being true, but that in and of itself is a problem that needs to be fixed. You know what I mean? It's gonna kill us. If we can't get crap like this right, and I'd rather not concede it and say, well, let's just take it out at the 20. When everyone else gets it at the 35, we'll play with this ridiculous handicap of starting at the 20 because we just don't trust the competence of our special teams unit. I mean, that's not good. You're probably right, but that's bad.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
Yo.
By the way, I just wanted to say the NFL sucked. What a bunch of douchebags fining coaches for shoving around players. That stuff takes care of itself. You don't need to fine anyone.
Exactly.
You push a player or whatever he did. I mean, the backlash from that, if there is, if it's warranting backlash, it'll take care of itself.
Right.
Fining a guy. God, what a bunch of Nazis. And then the Jerry Jones thing, that is awesome. They should give him, they shouldn't fine him. They should give him like a freaking major award. Here, you can get $100,000 bonus just for being fun. I mean, you're bringing something to the game. Fining him $250,000. What do they do with that money? I mean, it'd be different if they took that $250,000 and like gave it to charity or I don't know what something, but they're just pocketing the money. I'm sure. What a bunch of douchers. I mean, it's just like it's wild. It's like I don't know what to compare it to. Let's just go find people so we can make more money. Just take money off people. And then what are we going to do with that money? No, it's just that's not like anything. We just use that money like to, I don't know. It's just stupid. God, if I could do anything about it besides whine like a little girl. But doesn't it suck? We need to do something as fans. I don't know what that is. Brian, you need to organize something.
Okay.
Put some more workload on you.
Okay.
Figure it out, buddy. Get a petition rolling. A go unfund me for the NFL. Later, dude.
Yeah, and again, I just think it's the NFL just encroaching more than they need to. It's just stupid. Just leave it alone. It'll be fine. Go away. You're not helping anything or anyone. You're freaking annoying. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got Seth in Iowa.
Hey, Ryan. What up? It's
Yo.
Seth. I haven't called in forever. But still love the show. Just busy with 2 little kiddos. And anyways, wanted to call in and talk about the Packers a little bit. I think I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic than most of what I hear or see. Granted, negative people always seem to be louder, so maybe it's not as big of a percentage of the fan base as we think, but it certainly feels that way. Just kind of looking through it, while it doesn't totally solve everything, it's very easy to see how the Packers could be 4-0. And that's a lot better than being 2-2 or 2-1-1 and thinking, man, we got lucky, we could have been 0-4. There's been years like that where you see teams like, I think it was the Vikings last year, just like scraping out wins. You knew they didn't deserve to win. You knew they weren't as good as their record.
Yeah.
And you look at them and they were like, at one point they were like 10-5, and you're like, yeah, but they won so many last minute games, they could have easily been 5-10.
Yep.
And so like that team heading into the postseason, we all were just like, they're not going to go anywhere. And this team feels different. We can fix a couple things, and I still think we're Super Bowl level talent. You look at our offense, Jordan Love has been incredible. I do kind of want him to be able to swing the ball around a little bit more, but at the same time, his numbers are amazing, and they could have been even better. In the first 2 games, we basically got, milked the clock in the second half because we were up so much, so we didn't need to throw. He could have had a couple 400-yard games there, and more touchdowns. But, it's good. That's playing smart. But I just think we forget how good he's been. Our defense at times has looked like the best in the NFL. And really through 3 games, you can't get mad at them on the Browns too much. We turn the ball over in their inside our own 20 to get them the ball in the red zone. Against the Cowboys, the defense did struggle. And, I think if you look at the tape, though, you'll see Micah Parsons was milliseconds away from a 4-sack game, and Dak just had an incredible game. I think if you play Dak about almost any other week, or you play almost any other quarterback, I think he just had a game record of a game there. Dak was just getting the ball out fast, and that is on our secondary.
Sure.
You got to hold up for 3 seconds. Maybe I'm halfway a little bit. I think
I lose you? 3 minutes. Here we go.
Hey, sorry, the 3-minute monster got me, and I didn't think I'd be that long-winded. But I'll finish my thoughts since I haven't been calling in very much. Anyways, I think the defense can be elite. If our secondary plays like they did the first 3 games, if we hold up for half a second longer, Micah Parsons has 4 or 5 sacks, some interceptions because he's in his face and he's throwing the ball, he's getting hit or whatnot. Dak was incredible. We do need to tip our hat to him a little bit and also say, secondary, you got to be better. Maybe play calling has to be a little bit better, but Jeff Hasley's been amazing, so I'm not going to hit on him too hard. And then special teams. We are all kicking the crap out of Rich right now. And to be fair, to some extent, when Musgrave, or if it was the guy next to him, whoever's fault that blocked field goal was, you can say the player didn't do their job, but ultimately as a coach, just like if you're a CEO, you're responsible for your people's performance. And I saw on the field goals after that, we had, I think it was Carl Brooks in there instead of Musgrave, which, I love that adjustment. I think we should have done it 1 field goal sooner because they almost blocked our first PAT, or 1 kick sooner. But I think we can figure that out. And I will say, my knock on Rich there is, why the hell was Musgrave ever blocking? He sucks at blocking.
Right.
Put in Fitzpatrick if you think it's a tight end role for speed blocking, some versatility there. Or, stick Carl Brooks out there. Stick Nas Stackhouse out there. I don't care. Stick Monk out there. And Elton wasn't out there to start either, and they put Elton out there. I'm like, we got to have our stars in on those plays. Now, am I going to be pissed if someone gets hurt on a field goal or PAT, yes, but that is part of the game, and you can't be losing the game on those. And they need consistency. So you can't just be swapping them in for important kicks. And Wheelan's he's one of the best punters in the league. And so my point there is, I think if with a few adjustments, I think we'll be all right. Because really this year's been blocked kicks. And throw Carl Brooks out there, whoever, and we'll get that cleaned up. I think we got a real shot to be still a Super Bowl caliber team, or a very dangerous playoff team at the least. And am I nervous heading into the Bengals and these next 3 games after that? You know, in theory, we should probably go forward on that stretch. You might drop one because it's the nature of the NFL. So am I nervous going into our next games because of the last 2? Absolutely I am. But I also know deep down, when I just take a step back, take a deep breath, that we should kick the crap out of the Bengals, and we should be a dominant team. And so hopefully we can get these few things cleaned up.
Got double 3-minuted. But yeah, I mean, especially with that Rich Bisaccia thing, you know, and this goes across the board. I get kind of annoyed sometimes when they come up with the excuses. I mean, it's also annoying when they don't have excuses, so it's kind of a lose-lose. I don't know, and, well, here's what happened. But, for example, Matt LaFleur came out and was like, well, you know, we switched some things around, we made some changes, whatever. You know, when it's been continued problems, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, that happened because of this. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll give you your freaking excuse. But it better be fixed now, okay? You found some new people that you felt would be better, and there's some growing pains because they're new. Fine. No more growing pains, and you found the right people, right? So now everything's going to be fixed? Because I don't want to just keep accepting new excuses. Oh, well, this time what happened was, you know how that guy got injured? Yeah, he's a big part of our special teams, so that just messed everything up, you know what I mean? No more, dude. Fix it now. It's fixed, right? Good? All better? Fixed it? Great. But yeah, we gotta come out swinging. It's the bye week is tough after a loss, because it's a lot of misery. So just come out, look good again, and let's be happy again. I'm ready to be happy.
Brian, I just heard the news that the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to face a quarterback that beat us, playing for a team that has now arguably better wide receivers than he did at Cleveland?
Oh, not arguably.
I mean, got Higgins, Chase. It boggles my mind, dude. It boggles my mind. Could he do it to us again? I mean, I want your opinion. Do you think, seeing a team for the second time, does Flacco hold the advantage, or does the defense hold the advantage of seeing Flacco for the second time? Because are you going to be able to scheme against him, or is it because he's on another team with different players, a different line, a different offensive coordinator, does he hold the advantage? Because, dude, I'm shaking my head at this one. I was already feeling a little bit shaky about this game just because they're coming off a bye, which sometimes, man, they just come out flat after a bye. I know they're getting guys back from injury. That's definitely going to help. But this just seems to be icing on the cake when it comes to, here we go again. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that they're going to curb stomp them. And I just had that reservation of anything's possible, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. I mean, I still think that they could easily beat them, but this just throws a monkey wrench into the whole scheme. So just wondering which side do you fall on? I'm out.
Well, I guess if I had to pick, I would say the Packers have the advantage there, and it's just off the cuff. But the only reason I really say that is because Flacco's not very good. And so if Flacco's going to beat you, he's giving you his best shot, and the Cleveland Browns figured out, okay, this is the way, and probably the only way that this dude's going to be beating you. If it's a better quarterback, maybe there would be some more concerns. But I feel like I don't know that Flacco's going to beat you a bunch of different ways. So if that's how Flacco is able to beat this Packers defense, I can't envision, I guess what I'm saying is a chess match where, okay, this is how Flacco beat us last time. And so the Bengals are going to try to come out and do something similar. And so we're going to do something to stop that, but then they're going to go over the top. We're going to get rock, paper, scissored. Last time we threw paper, he threw rock. Or no, scissors. So this time we're going to throw rock, but he's going to throw paper. No, he does. All he has is rock. That's it. That's his one move is rock, or whatever I said. There's too many things. Okay, 3 things is too many. At the end of the day, when you have a limited quarterback like that, it's no different than like when the Packers are the lesser team. You know that you have to give your best shot, and you can't be making mistakes, and you have to borderline be perfect. And for Flacco to come out and play the way that he did, not that he was perfect, but he was very good in executing what needed to be executed in front of him. He's going to need to be basically perfect again, and that's with Hafley having seen his best shot against their defense and how they handled that. I don't necessarily see Flacco going, okay, so here's what they did and here's how they do it, so I'm going to change my game and do it. There's no change in your game, dude. You were never that good of a quarterback, and now you're 60. So, I think he's got one shot. He's got one move, and that's basically it. That would be my gut reaction to your question.
Ryan, I think I have a solution to this quandary of what do we do during the Super Bowl halftime?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those guys that echo the same sentiment of Bad Bunny who.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a swing and a miss for the Super Bowl. Again, the NFL shows it does not care about the real fans, in my opinion. But I would like to suggest that you make up your own halftime show with your talented abilities to do AI songs.
Okay.
And
sounds good.
You and Clayton, I don't know what the scenario would be if you guys will have a live watch, of the game, streaming it or something like that. But during halftime, you could go live and do an AI concert with your songs, and Clayton could use those also if you produce it, make it ready, and share it with all the other guys that put on their podcast streams. So just something alternative. Give the people something else. Give them options. We as Americans, we love options because a lot of times what's put in front of us is not what we like. So give the people an option, Ryan, and make your own AI Super Bowl halftime show. I'm out.
All we need in order for that to happen is for the AI video to continue to get better. The new Sora does look pretty fantastic, but the problem with the newest video things is that because video is so massive, everything's very expensive. So, like with the latest Google one that came out, which was the previous, pretty solid one before this Sora came out by ChatGPT or OpenAI or whatever, is one of those, like, you can build like 2 videos and then you're out unless you spend $200 a month or something, which I'm never doing. Unless unless I was in a position where this suddenly became profitable, which it is not. But if the video could kind of catch up and be cheap enough to make it worthwhile, yeah, I could put together a 30-minute freaking concert, which would be dope. But we'll have to see where AI is at in the next, how much time? We got a good amount of time the way AI is moving. What is it, October, November, December, January? Well, maybe not. It's 3.5 months. We'll see. We'll see where we're at. I mean, this Sora might be good enough. So if we can just kind of get Sora quality, but bring the cost down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? We might be able to do some some halftime video stuff. It's also probably the only way I'm getting back to YouTube is if the video stuff starts getting back. I don't know exactly what that would look like because I know especially a lot of people hate AI, so it wouldn't want it to be super stupid, but I don't know. I haven't fully figured that out yet. But once video becomes a little bit better, I'll probably start screwing around on YouTube again. Especially with, I think mock drafts could be a lot of fun. I wanted to build like a really high quality mock draft. This is when I first started on YouTube. It was an NFL mock draft channel. That's basically all it was back when it was a successful YouTube channel. And then I got away from it, and then nobody cared about me anymore. But I wanted it to be like really high quality and all this stuff. And that's very hard to do. And with AI, I mean, if you can get the quality of the video good enough, I mean, you could recreate an entire draft. Again, the problem is I would have to make, you figure for each draft, 32 selections, at least 2 scenes, one with Goodell going to the podium and announcing it, the other with that guy going up and accepting it or whatever, because the video clips are usually pretty small. So you're talking 64 video generations, probably more than that, because some of them are going to suck, so you're going to have to regenerate some stuff. The quality has to go up and the cost has to come way down. But if it ever does, I'm absolutely going to be doing stuff like that, and I'm very excited about it. So it's still, it's not like AI is doing the drafting, although it might be AI assisted. It's still me doing the drafts and doing my level of explanation or whatever. There might even need to be another generation because you need to kind of explain stuff. So you could have, that's where I would be, is sitting at the booth. I'd be the Mel Kiper sitting at the booth. I don't know. I get excited about this. I think it would be fun, but it's just we're nowhere near that point where that's possible. When the video quality gets as good as the music generation quality, we're going to have some fun with it. But until then, we'll see. We'll give her 3 months to get the video generation quality up and price down. And if we get there, I will put on a concert. It'll be fun. I don't even think I have access yet to that because the Sora is invite only, which is how you know it's going to be super expensive when it opens up. Download the Sora app. I don't want to. Yeah, enter invite code, so I don't even have access to it. So that's one of those, when they finally drop it, maybe you'll be able to create like 1 or 2 a month, and then you're going to be rate limited. It's getting there, though, man. I'm telling you, it's getting there. Otherwise, it's just going to be the music with some looping video of just like one guy playing guitar as these songs play in the background, which is a possibility. We could do something like that for the live Super Bowl halftime concert. Just rather not. All right, let's take our final break. We got 8 more calls, so we'll try to do as rapid fire as we can here. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, man, it's Matt. I feel like I should give myself some kind of nickname, and
Jersey Matt.
Everybody else has cool nicknames like Beer Cheese, Jersey Mike, I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's Jersey Matt.
I just want to make a comment here about a lot of the doom and gloom. I hear it in people's voices, even the ones that are trying to stay optimistic.
Right.
They still just, it seems like everyone in this fan base is kind of wrapped around this Cleveland loss. But I just want to say, like, when have you ever wanted to be the best team in the league in September? I mean, I know you want to be good, right? You want to have a great team and you want to look good all year long. But when have we ever, seen the best team in September go on to win the Super Bowl? I feel like it's a rare occurrence because I don't know, like the NFL gods, they just don't let teams that are hot in the beginning carry that on. I feel like it's impossible to carry that momentum. So when we got that loss, yeah, it sucked. It was annoying, but at the same time, I was like, yes, we're not like, they're not crowning us anymore, and we don't have to carry that on our shoulders every single week that we're one of the best or Super Bowl favorites or better than the Eagles already. It's good to get that loss, that bad taste in your mouth, a little punch in the face in September, just to remind yourselves you're not hot, you're not Giants, you could lose to anybody. So I don't know. What are your 2 cents on that? I just feel like the football gods do not let teams that are the best in September go on to win the Super Bowl. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, and we know, everybody knows that it's the team that gets hot at the right time. That's what ultimately matters. The reason why people don't care and they don't want to hear it and they want to get upset about it is, again, this belief that what I'm seeing now, and again, this is people pretending that they're being super intellectual about this, but there's this feeling that what I'm seeing now is real, is what the Packers are. And when I say what the Packers are, I mean now and in the future. That's why people say things like, this team isn't good enough to go to the Super Bowl, this team isn't Why are we talking about playoffs and Super Bowl in September, October? That's not when you go to the playoffs or the Super Bowl. The only reason that sentence is even relevant or makes sense is if you assume that what we saw in this last game is what the Packers will be for the next 2-3 months. It's the only way that makes sense. And of course, you don't know that. You have no idea what this team is going to be. We don't even know what's going to come out of the gate against Cincinnati. I am obviously, fingers crossed, hoping that we see some version of what we saw weeks 1 and 2. I am desperate for something like that. But like I said, it might be. And it's the other thing that's so weird is it's like, can even the negative fans, can you even explain what the Packers are? I'm not talking about saying bad or undisciplined. I'm talking about like, okay, give me a summary. Like, give me a score prediction. It's hard to do because if you zero in on just one of the 3 games, like Cleveland, then we're not going to score any points against Cincinnati. But our defense will probably hold them to a low score. If you hone in on Dallas, then our defense is going to let us down, but we're going to score a bunch of points. And that's also ignoring the first 2 weeks. So even the negative fans, I don't know how you can even try to hone in on any one game and say that you have a beat on what this team is. Nobody has a beat on what this team is, and even if you are able to articulate perfectly exactly what this team is through 4 weeks, it means nothing because we don't know what the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th weeks are going to look like. We've seen 4 very different games, or at least 3 very different games. The first 2 weeks were similar, 3rd week was very different, and the 4th week was very different than all the other weeks. So we don't know what this team is. We just know that they're not at their best yet, which is what you would expect early in the season. That's the unfortunate part about like when we beat Detroit. You don't assume that Detroit's just going to stay that way. No, you assume they're going to hit their stride. They're going to start to figure it out. Same with Kansas City, and they may not, but you assume they're going to hit their stride. They're going to slowly start to get better, right? Even Philly. Oh, ha, you lost 2 games in a row, and you lost. You suck now. Yeah, they'll probably figure it out and they'll get better. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. But that's the whole point. Like, you can't sit here and say, oh, dang, Philly ain't going to make the playoffs. Now, look at that. They just lost to the Giants. They ain't going to the playoffs. And if they do, they're going to barely limp in. They're not going anywhere. You don't know any of that. They could win the Super Bowl. Of course they can win the Super Bowl back-to-back. Just because they lost to the Giants in week 5 or whatever week it is means we know they're not going to win the Super Bowl. We don't know that. We don't know anything. So, yeah, we just got to stop trying to. And I know we can do this when we're positive as well. Like, oh, this team's definitely going to win the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. Which, again, I'm less adamant about trying to get people to stop that because, it's equally as incorrect, but it's not as wrong. Because as a fan, you should enjoy stuff. As a fan, you shouldn't be wrong in a negative way. That doesn't do anybody any good. There's no benefit, 0 benefit to that. Is there a benefit to fans sitting around going, bro, we might win the Super Bowl? Of course there is. That's peak fandom. That is what fans do. That's why I said enjoy it while it lasts. Because for sure it's not going to last. We're going to lose a game at some point. We're not going to be like the most elite offense and defense for 17 straight weeks. I was hoping it wouldn't come to such a crashing end so early. But you should enjoy it. You should have fun with it. There's probably boundaries and maybe don't take it too far or too seriously because I think that you can get super hurt on the other end. But yeah, dude, have fun with it, whatever. But we don't know. We don't know. And that's why you're exactly right. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. The start matters in terms of accumulating enough wins, especially against the right teams. That's really the only massive downside to these losses is the fact that now you have losses on your record. But now everybody's losing at such a high clip, it kind of cancels it out. When everybody else has a loss, it's kind of like canceling out one of our losses. So it's almost as if we're, two 2-0-1 or something, whatever the stupid thing is. So at most, we should be saying, boy, I hope they don't continue like this, because if they do, we're not going to go to the playoffs, which is a very obvious and self-evident statement that doesn't even hardly need to be said. Obviously, if the offense plays like it did against Cleveland, and the defense, if we cherry pick to that and then say, if they do that, right? But it's kind of as useless as saying, boy, if we can get back to what we did in week 1, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Like, well, yeah, probably, but that's kind of a useless statement. Kind of. It's in there somewhere is the one nice thing about it.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
I just wanted to bring up an interesting point that was mentioned. I guess it was just a couple of days ago. It was after watching the Jaguars beat Kansas City.
Sure.
And I had totally forgotten that Capinelli, who was our linebacker coach last year,
he's doing real good,
is now the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars. And I know you watched at least some of it. You're aware of just how the defense took it to Mahomes. And their linebacker, Lloyd, I guess he leads the league in interceptions, which is insane. But I think their team leads the league, obviously, in takeaways. And I can't help but wonder, it's like, are we seeing a little bit of a drop-off in our takeaways? Because we're dead last, dude. So it's kind of, to make the point and argue it, that we're missing Capinelli a little bit as linebacker coach, because there has been a little bit of a drop-off, I would say, in takeaways, but also in just maybe how the players are doing. I don't know. I wanted your input because I always trust your perception of things way more than what most of us fans are looking at it. So it's a bit more logic coming from you and some of us, but I just wanted your perspective on that, because it just seems like, as good as the defense has been playing, there's also some obvious things that are not going very well. And Edgerrin Cooper is not playing up to what we kind of thought he was going to do, like he did in the first game. There just seems to be moments there where it's like, what is exactly going on? So just want to see what you thought. I think it bears mentioning that, here we have a coach that was really good that is now at another team, and that team's defense is doing really, really good. So there's that. So I'm out.
I would say that there's kind of levels to that. I think some of that feels a little bit like a reach to me. For example, the takeaways, it would be hard to convince me that Campanelli was the reason for the team takeaways last year, especially since it was almost entirely Xavier McKinney, especially since takeaways are very well known to be kind of a fluky stat. In other words, they don't, a team with a lot of takeaways one year is very unlikely to repeat that again the next year, and vice versa. A team that struggles with it, whatever. Obviously, it's good to emphasize it and try to focus on it. And I'm sure you can raise that sort of baseline. But again, it's very difficult to just be very successful in takeaways because it's such a luck stat. I also, and I think he's a very good coach and all that. I think I wish him the best, and it seems like things are going really well for him and all that. I would be a little bit patient. I don't know how our defense, first of all, pretending our defense is bad is obviously they're not a bad defense. They had, again, one bad game. So I don't know that we have completely fallen off. I would say still we're a better defense than we were last year. So that in and of itself. Plus, we got to see what happens. A lot of times you get a new defensive coordinator, especially brand new. It's going to take a minute for people to adjust. So we got to kind of wait and see how this thing pans out overall. Again, that's not to say he isn't doing a good job, because he is, and things look great. I think where it becomes a little bit more possible or probable would be when you talk specifically about the linebackers. We had a very good linebackers coach who not only obviously helped Edgerrin to some degree get to where he was, but also I thought made Quay start to look pretty decent, at least in some regard. It was kind of tough because it was injuries and different things going on that made it tough to make things definitive. But you started to feel like, at the very least, the guy's not a liability right now. It seems like he's kind of, I'm glad he's here. That one's a little bit easier to come around to saying maybe there's a little bit of brain drain or you lose a guy like Campanelli and you're going to lose a little something with your linebackers. I'm hoping that it's not something that's going to continue. Like if Edgerrin Cooper is a one-year wonder because we lost Campanelli, that's going to be catastrophic. Because that was a massive piece of what we had going on was Edgerrin Cooper being as good as he was. So, but again, these things are going to take time. We're going to have to see how it goes. The Cooper thing is obviously pretty disappointing, but I wouldn't put too much more on it than simply looking at the linebackers, because it gets to be a little bit more unlikely in my opinion.
Ryan, I wanted to see what you thought about the whole Wyatt issue of, is he going to be or is he not going to be put on the IR? And if he is this does this propel Goody to go get somebody in a trade? After this week, maybe we'll know a lot more when his return timetable looks like. But if it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks, can they afford that time to just plug in the guys that they have? Or do they feel like there's just that chance that maybe this could be something that gives them trouble the rest of the season and they need some other stopgap to help with the run defense? I think there are some teams out there that are looking like they are circling the drain that might have somebody that they could go after, but I just wanted to see what you thought. Right now, I think it's too early to say, but there is that potential. Goody is always one of those that does the unthinkable and goes out and get people that we never would have dreamed of. So have to wait and see, I guess, but it just crossed my mind just because of the potential of this being an injury that really does create a weak link in the defensive line.
I would just guess not. Nothing's impossible. I think that they'll probably add somebody. I don't think it'll be a big somebody. I think what you see is maybe a little bit more action for Warren Brinson. Obviously, that's not a one-to-one replacement, but I just think that that's probably... Oh, my goodness. Did my internet just freeze up on me? I'm trying to scroll and it's not working. Whatever. You probably have a call-up from the practice squad and then somebody to backfill that spot. Part of the issue is, number one, we just went and got Micah Parsons, right? That's massive. And that cost a lot of resources. And that needs to be able to carry over a ton. And if it's not enough, because, actually it turns out Wyatt was our big whatever. I don't know. You also have to think, we can't do that for every injury. What if Zach Tom gets put on IR at some point? Do we have to trade for a tackle? If, Evan Williams gets put on IR, do we need to go get a safety? If Keyshawn Nixon gets put on IR, do we have to go get a corner? Oh, good, we're back. That wasn't catastrophic. I think at some point you got to just be able to live with the situation that you've got. There's going to be injuries, and you're going to have to survive it. And we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens. I'm encouraged by the fact that they haven't put him on IR yet, but we've also already seen that thing where it's not necessary. You know what I mean? So they're not going to do it because there's no urgent. We don't need that spot right now, so we'll just kind of drag this on and see how it goes. But who knows? Maybe there's a splash out there. That's the other part too, is who's available. I don't think the going and getting Micah Parsons was just about we really need an edge rusher. It was, bro, Micah frickin' Parsons is on the table right now. We got to make a move. So part of it is going to be who's available, what's the cost, all that kind of stuff. But I would heavily lean toward probably not, which I know is a contradiction. Heavily, probably.
Brian, you know how we've been struggling to figure out what exactly happened to the defense when they played Dallas? And you have said, well, obviously Dak had one of those moments where he was just unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was made aware of that apparently the quarterback coach for Dallas was Hafley's offensive coordinator at Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows Hafley better than his offensive coordinator? So I think we have a little bit of insight to what happened with this game. I think he knew exactly what to do against this defense and Hafley's, decisions of what might, come from this, or if he showed this, what would happen. And maybe that explains the unraveling of the defense. So there's always something that helps explain away why a team does what it does. So there you have it. Just thought you'd want to know.
Oh, and the scary thing is it doesn't fully explain it away, because once you put something like that on tape, everybody can replicate it. Everybody, it's like speaking a language. They may as well have just put out a big PDF document for everybody to read on how to stop the team. And again, that is partially my theory, is that offensively and defensively, the NFL has kind of figured something out. And we talked about this last year with the offense, where I think they learned that manning up our guys is going to cause us some serious problems. And that's where we were excited about Christian Watson and hopefully Golden. And I think we've been able to weather that storm offensively. But there's still some big questions. The blitz rate and pressure rate against Jordan Love and all these things, they don't seem to want to back off. So, we got to find ways to counter what people are doing to us, especially defensively. Make sure that, if they're going to do that crap, we have to have an answer. Whatever that thing is, the thing that they're doing and the answer. But that's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Howdy, this is your trailer Uber driver.
Yo.
Texas. Hear me out. Watching some of the Giants Eagles game, and what if AJ Dillon is signed with the Eagles to sabotage them? I just watched the fumble. That could be the greatest con in history.
That'd be great.
Go Pack, go.
I'm all for it. I honestly didn't even know that happened. I didn't watch the whole game. I just was getting score updates and whatnot, which I couldn't believe. We were going out for, I think I mentioned my wife's birthday, so my son and I were just kind of peeking over at the scores whenever we could, and I kept seeing it and thinking, yeah, Eagles are going to come back. And then finally at bedtime, he asks, who, I can't say her name, but comes into the bedroom with a big smile on his face, and I knew what had happened.
Hey Ryan, it's Drew from Green Bay, and so it sounds like Wyatt might be out again, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the defensive tackles perform, and see, was that actually a big deal in our last game where Wyatt got hurt, in the beginning of the second quarter, so or was it it was early in the game, if I remember right. But, anyways, so we had Brinson inactive. And so then, I think he's actually the closest body type to Wyatt. So, Wooden is, significantly smaller, and then you have Stackhouse, who is significantly bigger, and so it's really just Wooden, Stackhouse, and Brooks, to fill in, and I think Brooks is significantly worse in talent, so, it'll be interesting to get a full rotation, of like at least 4 guys, and I liked some of what I saw out of Brinson. Obviously, he's young yet, but in the preseason and that, And I don't think that he's like as good of a pass rush or anything, but I think he could provide some pass rush, and he can stop the run better than Brooks. So I'm excited to see if that helps our defense quite a bit, and maybe that's why our defense did break down. I mean, you're going up against a good offense and a really good offense, and you know, you don't have the interior linemen. Well, you know, I didn't watch the game a second time, but where we stacked in the box to try to protect them, you know, putting a lot of stress on our linebackers. Or I know we weren't really getting home with the pass rush too much, and Pickens was destroying us, but was that helping to make our cornerbacks and DBs, you know, maybe we're bringing safeties down and all that. So you'd probably know more about that than I would, but so if we get another body in there in Brinson, maybe it can bring the defense back to where it should be. And I think, you know, no matter how good your defense is, there can always just be a week where they get beat up on. It is an offensive game after all, and sometimes I think we forget that even the best defense can have an off week. So let's go beat up on the Bengals. All right, have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, one way or another, losing Wyatt's going to be painful. I mean, he kind of emerged as a really solid pass rusher, which has me excited. I've been wanting that to be a thing. I think he finally did it. I think he did the thing that we've been kind of hoping for. So losing him is going to be tough. The other thing that's kind of terrible is I was looking at the run defense real quick just to see kind of who's doing what. Well, two interesting things stood out. Number one is that if you look at pass rush grades, Micah is number 1, Wyatt is number 2, Colby Wooden is number 3. He has 2 pressures and 0 sacks and 80 attempts. So I don't know what he's doing that's impressing PFF with his pass rush, but maybe there's something there. I don't know. Maybe if they give him an opportunity to kind of step into that role a little bit more. I don't know. The other interesting and somewhat devastating thing is we don't have a single defensive tackle that's any good at run defense. Our highest graded run defender as far as our defensive tackles is Wyatt with a 54 PFF grade. That's our best defensive tackle. So, yeah, we'll see about Brinson, and hopefully he can fill some kind of a role. But one way or another, I think it's a loss as long as he's out. It just kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, when you have Micah Parsons and you have Rashawn Gary and you have Lucas Van Ness, all of whom are doing a good job in the pass rush category, it shouldn't be an excuse. You know, we need the run defense and whatnot on the interior with the help of the linebackers, but you have to be able to win with guys like Van Ness, Parsons, and Gary. It's just got to be a thing. And right now they're all, especially Van Ness. I mean, he's got. Let me look at this real quick. His stats, 13 pressures on just 89 attempts. Yeah, he's at like 15% pressure rate. He is really doing well. Parsons is at 19%, which is just psychotic. Gary is just over 10%, which isn't great as pressures, but he is also leading the team with 4 sacks, so even him you can't be super mad at. So, you know, at the end of the day, we need Wyatt back. The sooner the better. But as long as he's out, you know, we need the other guys to step up. Hopefully we get a little bit from Brinson. Otherwise, the guys on the outside have to win. Bottom line. We shouldn't have to bring extra guys to generate pass rush. We shouldn't need to break away from anything else because of Wyatt. It shouldn't be that serious. If you go out and make a move like you did for Parsons, you can't then sit here and tell me, well, it all fell apart because of Wyatt. Bull crap. Bull crap. If it was that fragile, you should not have gotten Micah Parsons. All right, we got 4 more. We're just doing it. We're going for it, man. Bruce, what's going on, Wake and Bake?
Hey, brother. How are you, man? This is Bruce.
What's up, dude?
How you doing, man? I hope you're doing good, man. World's a little bit fucking weird right now, so I hope
no
you're
kidding.
doing well, man. You're a recluse like me, so we're good.
Yeah, just hide.
You know, man, it's the eve of...
I'm kind of like a prepper, but I'll die with everybody else because I don't have the foresight to build a tunnel, you know? I just kind of sit here in the basement, so whenever the thing happens, I'll just die with everybody else.
of a game against a team we should demolish, and that is my expectation, man.
Yes.
Remember earlier in the summer I called you about the chaos that the defense is causing, kind of thing. The hurries, the sacks versus like the flashy plays and that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm looking at, man. And this defense is good. And what they're doing is it's like 1,000 cuts. It's the Tom Brady kind of just like marching down the field, just kind of chopping us up a little bit because it's just not enough time. So we've got a pass rush, man, which is they're getting out the ball quickly. Why do you think they're doing that? I mean, our corners are good, man. Like Nixon had the fucking historic. I'm sorry. Had a historic.
Let this be a reminder if you're new here. Packernet. There is no naughty language. Packernet After Dark. The whole After Dark thing. It is what it is. I used to bleep that stuff out, and sometimes if it gets super crazy, which I ask people to not do, or you're dropping like 19 F-bombs in a row, I will go in and clean that up. But yeah, it's if you got your kids listening, and I apologize, that is kind of the standing order here with Packernet After Dark, because there's going to be a couple of those. So just so you're aware.
Game. And it seems like the cornerbacks are just everything's fine, man. It's just they got to get their groove right.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting them to demolish them, man. But just your thoughts on Wyatt, man. Like I didn't realize how important he was to this defense. Apparently, right, man? All right, dude. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's more to do with Wyatt. I do think, like you said in the beginning, coverage is a major part of it. So, in other words, I don't know that Wyatt would necessarily help by providing additional pressure, because pressure really wasn't the problem to begin with. Again, Wyatt is a big part of what we do, and it's going to hurt not having him. But I'm not going to put the whole thing on Wyatt. I do think it's more of a coverage thing. And as I said before, my layman's view of what was happening is that it's too easy to simply look at our defense and say, okay, they're in man coverage, we're going to run man beaters, and we're going to get somebody open quick. Okay, they're in zone coverage, we're going to run zone plays and get a guy open to the open part of the field quick. And it was just that. And that's how they were able to find somebody open quickly, so that, they can try to run different plays, deeper plays or whatever the case may be. But in case of instant pressure, you have your instant relief valve. And the quarterbacks, be it Dak or Flacco, both executed really well in terms of, here comes Parsons, dump it off to that guy wide open in the middle of the field. Now, it's going to be up to Hafley to say we can't do that thing where we have linebackers just sitting there watching somebody in the middle of the field when we're running these zone plays. You have to do something. I don't know if it's going to be some kind of a mix and match with our zone and man, where we're kind of doing a little bit of both or whatever, but they're going to have to do a better job of disguising what we're doing, because right now it's too easy. And again, I don't want to oversimplify it myself and make it sound easy, because it never is whenever a layman goes and does stuff like that. But that is what I noticed is, a lot of people were saying we're not running enough man, or we're doing too, whatever the critique was. But I mean, I was watching it, and that was my thought too, was are we... My first concern was we're deciding to push into man more because that's what they want to do, and we just can't do it. But then you'd see them run the zone plays, and again, you would have, way over on this side is Quay, and way over on that side is Edgerrin, and they're standing there, and they see the guy standing there, but it's like, no, that's not my zone. I got to stand here. They let him complete the pass, and then they end up getting a first down, and it's like, this is Joe Barry stuff, bro. And, maybe this is basically what we've been running all along, but, I mean, it just seems like they know what to do. You're in man, okay, boom, we're going to run this quick little slant because you can't stop it. You're in zone, okay, we're just going to drop a guy in between your linebackers. And again, we got other plays. If we got a guy deep, if we got a guy, intermediate middle or all these things, and I have time, I'll hit it. And that was the other thing, is when Micah's not on the field, that's when they would take a little bit more time and they would drop back and they would launch down the field. And then Micah comes on the field, Micah gets a pressure, boop, drop the ball off right there. And again, it's the whole rock, paper, scissors thing, except it's like we can throw first. It's pretty easy for quarterbacks these days to identify man or zone. That's why you kind of do the mix and match thing once in a while. But you got a guy running across the field. Oh, he's following me. Okay, they're in man. That basically like the Halfley throwing scissors first. Like, okay, what are we going to do? Gee, I wonder. I think I'm going to throw rock. So Halfley has to get into the zone of, okay, they know we're running man. And so I know that they're going to do this. What are you going to do about that? You have to be able to make them pay for trying to exploit you, or else they're just going to keep doing it. We'll see. It'll be interesting to watch and see what the reaction to it is. At the end of the day, you still have to execute, and it's tough when you're under constant duress, and hopefully our pass rush can continue to do that. But right now, we don't seem to have an answer other than, I don't really care, screw it, just get the pass rush there fast enough, and there is no such thing as fast enough. I mean, these receivers can get to the middle of the field in a second, and that ball can be out in a second. I mean, even the way they're running a lot of these plays, even 2.5 seconds isn't enough time. Or I should say is too much time, because they're getting the ball out before that. And expecting Micah or Rashawn or Van Ness to get there in 1.75 seconds or whatever. No, we have to work on the back end. The back end has to give these guys time. And if the back end can give you between 3 to 5 seconds, if you can cover for 3 to 5 seconds, Flacco's going to die on that football field. Plain and simple. Death. Death is what will happen to him.
What up, Brian Corey from Ohio?
Yo.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, man. I wonder if part of our problem of, not getting open is not necessarily play call or scheme or anything. Maybe it's just the fact that we got a bunch of average receivers. I mean, you got guys like Nakua and Amon St. Brown and Devontae Smith and shit like that. Those guys are constantly getting open, quarterbacks constantly feeding them the ball. I thought that's why we drafted Golden, to be that next Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, that stud guy we can go to all the time. Gets 9-10 targets a game, good for 7 or 8 catches, and, a touchdown every game or every other game. He's just, I don't know if he's not there or if Green Bay's doing what they normally do and trying to get him slowly acclimated to the offense, and they're not using that much. And, they always say things like, oh, maybe him and Jordan ain't on the same page. Man, I'm pretty sure Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, they came into the league, tearing it up pretty good, getting a lot of fair share of targets and stuff. And I just don't know what we're doing. Is it if we're not targeting them in the schemes? Is it Love not seeing him or Golden not being open? I just don't know. I just want to see more. We drafted this guy in the first round for a reason. He's got to be a playmaker, and we're not giving him enough chances to be that playmaker. When we do get touches to him, it's manufactured touches like end around jet sweep things or wide receiver screens or, little slants and stuff. I want to see more big, explosive tries to him, deep itches and posts and deep balls mixed in with some of those shorter ones. But I just think we need to get him the ball more. We got to see what this kid's got. Everything that I've seen says this kid's got it. And preseason training camp all said that this kid's got it. So he's got the best hands. Let's do it. Make this guy the next big thing. We need that stud receiver. We could possibly have one now. We just don't know. Let me know what you think about that later.
Yeah, and like I said, I've only kind of dug in once to see what I thought the issue was, and the issue absolutely seemed to me to be a scheme thing. And it's hard to know definitively, but I mean, it's pretty easy at the same time to look at it and see, okay, you're asking him to run, let's say, a little post route, meaning you run up, and then you run kind of at an angle toward the middle of the field. Okay, well, that guy's running toward a safety, so that's not great. What about this guy? Well, he's running up and toward the middle, and he's running right at a linebacker. And this guy's running a go route, but he's got the corner as well as safety help over the top. And so, everything just seems like perfectly covered to where Matt LaFleur has guys running into guys, which is not good. They're not running away from guys. They're not. It is. Nobody's getting open. Jamar Chase is not getting open. It's you know what I mean. It's not possible. The other thing that seems odd to me is the metric that says that, Golden, as far as his ability to get open, he's one of the best at being open. Then I don't understand why he's not getting the ball. Now, I do have questions about that metric because I do know sometimes, and this might be every time, that like Next Gen Stats, I think their calculation is based off of targets. So if you throw at them, the question is how big of a separation gap did you have when you were targeted? Well, there's problems with metrics like that. For example, when you throw a wide receiver screen. That's also why, if you look at it, running backs are almost always at the top of that list. Why? Because they're running a lot of screens where there's not a guy within 10 yards, and that's going to massively skew the numbers. It doesn't necessarily mean it's in man coverage and you ran away from somebody. So I can't give a very good explanation of that because, again, I've only watched the one game, and it was because I had that exact same question. And that was, having watched many times, I've seen Matt LaFleur get guys open all the time. It was so weird to watch that Cleveland game and just feel like the defense knew exactly what we were calling every single time and called the exact right defensive play because that play was dead on arrival. It was in no way a talent thing. It was simply everybody is covered. Everybody is just, and it's, again, I'm not talking about man coverage like he's covered and he just couldn't get away from him. I'm talking, the direction we're running, they didn't even have to work hard. Like, oh, look, there's a guy standing there. So that's not going to work. So being that, it's game day tomorrow, I'm not going to go back and look at the Dallas game. Obviously, we also scored 40 points, so I doubt it'll be as bad as the Cleveland game. But, it's something to keep an eye on. If something's similar, if it feels like we're really struggling to get guys open and get the ball to people against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are a really bad team, I'm going to have to go look at it, and I'm worried that that's going to be a similar thing. All right, we did it. Final call, Uncle Rico, what's up?
Yo, Ryan, this is your Uncle Rico.
Yo.
So, yeah, here's the deal with Uncle Rico.
Okay.
I'm not in love with Matt LaFleur.
Sure.
But it's a huge risk replacing Matt LaFleur. Huge.
Yeah.
He's got the highest winning percentage of any active coach with at least 100 games.
By the way, it is hilarious to me, people that hate Matt LaFleur who say things like, somebody give me a reason why Matt LaFleur is a good coach, and don't talk to me about his win percentage. Like, I'm sorry, but it's kind of a big deal, actually. But, maybe I think I will use that in the win column.
The highest. Well, that's kind of a lie. He's tied with Sean McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
But the highest winning percentage of any active coach with at least 100 games. And you could replace him with, we could go through 13 coaches before we get that again. You want perfection? It's not going to happen. Obviously, pick a coach. Pick a coach in the NFL and replace that.
Well, even look at, like, Kyle Shanahan is often given way more credit than Matt LaFleur is. Look at Kyle Shanahan's teams. How many times they end up with, like, top 5 picks while he's been a head coach? You know what I mean? The guy in Miami was considered a wizard, and that lasted all of, 3-4 years, maybe, before it just all fell apart, and now everyone's looking at him, and just every time I think about that guy, the head coach, it reminds me of that scene from, Step Brothers, when they go in for the interview, and I think, like, the dude farted in the beginning of the interview, and he kind of thought it was funny at first, and then when he realized that they were wackos, that they're freaking crazy idiots, he's like, actually, that whole thing, now everything kind of seems a little messed up. That's how I feel about the guy in Miami, where it's like, oh, he's adorable and funny, and then everything starts going south, and it's like, oh, you're... Okay, actually, you know what? All this seems bad now, actually. None of this is funny, and I don't like it. Even the Rams guy, who's a very good coach, but how dominant have they been every single year? Yeah, I don't think they've been. Okay, they got the Super Bowl. Yes, they do. That's wonderful. I don't think on a year-to-year basis they've been more successful than Matt LaFleur has been. And that's like the coaching tree. That's like the top of the top coaching tree. And you're talking about Matt LaFleur has had more success. And you can't just pin it on, well, because of Aaron Rodgers. Bull crap. Because even though he had a couple good years with Rodgers, he also had some of Rodgers' worst years and then had to make it work with Jordan Love. So you can't even use that anymore, right? That's what everybody's whole thing was. Oh, yeah, well, we'll see if Matt LaFleur can even win. He was a bum that was being carried by Aaron Rodgers, and then all of a sudden the team is still good after Rodgers leaves, and it's suddenly Jordan and the team is being carried by Matt LaFleur. Oh, okay. So now you have the answer, right? So Matt LaFleur's a genius until the team goes bad, and then all of a sudden Matt LaFleur's overrated and he should be fired. Like, guys, holy crap. Holy crap. Can we just relax?
Swap him with Matt LaFleur. Replace Matt LaFleur with any coach in the NFL. They're not better. He's the best at winning games. I mean,
well, and that's the other thing too. Is it's like, even if it's like, well, that's not because of it. We're talking best winning percentage. Are you telling me Matt LaFleur has had the best team that anybody has ever had? Is that what you're telling me? Even without Rod, so you can't say Rodgers. So what is it that's made him the best team? Because these same people that are complaining about Matt LaFleur will tell you that we have no elite talent, we have no blue chip players. How in the world is Matt LaFleur able to have the record that he had with two different quarterbacks, plus Malik, he had wins with Malik, and apparently no blue chip players, and also he should be fired and we shouldn't look at his record? I mean, can we give the guy a little credit? Because the team that you think doesn't really have a lot of talent, the coach that has been in charge of the team that doesn't have enough talent and doesn't have a quarterback that you feel like is actually like the it quarterback, that guy has one of the best win percentages in the entire NFL. And what? I'm not supposed to be impressed? I can't use that in the positive column for Matt LaFleur? Make that make sense to me. I don't understand it.
Well, no, and unless I don't understand math. Am I wrong? Look it up, I guess. Look it up! But, you know, like I said, I get frustrated with him as well, but
right. We
expect perfection. But that's as close to perfection as you're going to get. Nobody's closer to perfection than that. Or he'd go out.
Well, and that's exactly right. I mean, I don't know if it's the highest or what. I know he was near the top a long time ago, and I haven't looked since, but even if he's top 5 or even top 10 in NFL history, that's still massive in terms of what he's been able to do. And so, yeah, again, when I talk to you about what I had been saying at the beginning of this, which is put things in context. Okay, it's bad. How much worse? Well, we always lose these games. Apparently, we don't always lose. Apparently, since Matt LaFleur has been here, we lose less than everybody ever in the history of the NFL. So we don't always lose anything. There's not always anything negative. So, you know, again, it doesn't mean that there can't be fixes. It doesn't even mean that maybe Matt LaFleur, maybe it's true he's never going to get us to the promised land or whatever. But I tend to lean toward your being more emotional than rational until I can be proven wrong on that. I'm willing to be open-minded about it. And I, like you said, I have critiques at times and I have questions. But I think usually when the dust settles and when you actually do a little bit of research and look into things, it usually is not anywhere near as bad as you feel that it is. It's certainly not as bad as a lot of the negative fans who want to come out and whine about stuff will tell you that it is. And even, you know, in the darkest times, usually you end up coming out of it. Now, if we don't pull out of this, now we have some new things to look into and to question. You know, if we can't offensively or defensively figure out how to stop teams from doing what they're doing and we continue this way and we miss the playoffs, then yeah, we obviously need to have a discussion about these things. But we are nowhere near at that point right now. And pretending Matt LaFleur doesn't deserve credit is ridiculous. Again, a lot of people like to play that game when we had Rodgers to pretend that Rodgers was carrying him. I would love to know what exactly is carrying Matt LaFleur today. What is it? Is it Romeo Doubs? Is it Doubs that's been carrying him this whole time? I mean, who's even been on the team the entire time that he's been here? I don't know of anybody. It's probably somebody, but I can't think of anybody now that we lost Kenny. Who's been here since he got here? That's been carrying him the whole time. Elton Jenkins? Is that the guy that's been carrying our team this whole time, carrying Matt LaFleur to the promised land? What are we talking about? It's gonna take a little bit more than a couple flubs through 4 weeks for me to determine that actually, no, he's not a good coach and we should move on. In fact, you'll never convince me that he hasn't been a good coach. At best, you can convince me that maybe he's not with the times as much anymore. The NFL has passed him by and we need somebody else. That's the best you're going to be able to do to convince me. But you got to understand, coming at me emotionally and irrationally is not a good way to start. Using hyperbolic language like we always, or we're not trying to win, things like that, immediately my brain's just going to shut off and be like, this is not a serious phone call or a serious tweet or a discussion or whatever. You might even be right, but I'm not going to hear anything you say after that because you're not being serious. Anyways, in honor of the game tomorrow, as I had mentioned before, I had already created a song about Micah Parsons hunting Joe Flacco, and it would be a crime to not bring it back. And since I'm recording this first, and I don't want to forget, I'm going to drop it here. So you guys have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow for game day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
In the shadows I lurk, yeah, I'm coming for blood. When the lights go down, I rise up from the mud. Like I don't know what evil he's about to face. When I cross that line, leave no witness, no trace. Been watching, been waiting, been planning this kill. Every breath that he takes just feed my dark thrill. Nightmare dressed like a linebacker coming to collect. When the hunter strikes, show no mercy, no respect.
I need him. I want him. Is time running out now? Time to end him.
And the reaper on the field. Hunt him down, break him down. No escape, darkness sealed. Take his soul, take his crown. It's time to collect him.
Flacco's judgment day.
The hunter shows no mercy.
Death comes out to play.
I'm the monster in your nightmares, the fear in your eyes. When you see me in your backfield, that's when your hope dies. Every sack is a statement, every hit is a scar. I'm the darkness that follows everywhere that you are. Quarterback, slay a dream, crusher, soul taker. When I wrap you up tight, I'm your personal undertaker. This is more than a game, this is psychological war. Leave you broken and beaten on that cold stadium floor. I like the name. The Hunter. But I need him. I want him.
It's time to collect his soul.
The Reaper on the field. Hunt him down, break him down. No escape, darkness sealed. Take his soul, take his crown. It's time to collect him.